Hey, it's me, Glow, and I decided to do a little live tonight. Felt the subject matter was appropriate, especially around this time of the year with people wanting to celebrate Halloween and stuff like that, and especially everything that's been going on in the news with Puff Daddy and stuff like that. So, what I have planned tonight. I'm not gonna I'm gonna play a video for you guys. I'm not gonna do very much commentary on this video. It's pretty much self-explanatory. Um, the commentator is by a gentleman by the name of John Todd. Um, he was a high level Druid priest. He was into some real deep witchcraft. And his family allegedly, I mean, there's so many rumors about him that allegedly his family um not only was high level, like they was 35-degree Mason or whatever, but their family ties are connected to the 13 Illuminati families that are known or unknown, depending on what you believe. So tonight, what I thought about doing, like I said, I'm not going to do very much commentary, and as you can see, I'm in a new spot. I'm on Restream, and I'm also testing this out as well to see if this would be better for me to switch or to just stay with StreamYard. So I'm basically relearning Restream all over again. So thanks for coming by. Thanks for the replay. And before I start, um, getting back to the video itself, the gentleman's name is John Todd. John Todd is his alleged name. Um, His birth name is John Collins, and like stated before, he was to be really high into up the witchcraft chain, and he's going to explain a lot of himself and um, connections he had in the music industry and the entertainment industry and churches and stuff like that. So his story is pretty deep, and he's actually doing his testimonies from a church. So if you have issues with him talking about God, giving your life to Christ or whatever, that's kind of, I mean, the only choice you can do, you really have is listen beyond that to what he's saying because it's kind of following in line on what's been going on lately with politicians, P. Diddy, and other things of that nature. So, um, certain parts of the video I will try to catch and be like, I'm sorry, my bad, or something like that, because I didn't want to edit the video. I feel it would take away from it, but it's certain words that he does use that because of the social media platform that I use and you watch and I watch as well. Certain words you really can't say. So I'm gonna try to catch them the best way I can. Um, there's like 12 videos in this collection, and tonight's video is really part 1A, and it's about 45 minutes. But I broke them in. I broke that video into 4 parts. So two of the parts I'm gonna cover tonight. So it's gonna be about 20 minutes, and I'm gonna stop in between and whatnot. And depending on how it flows. I might do I'm not going to do the whole 48 minutes, but I will, like I said, I'm breaking it down. So it depends on how this goes, is how long I'm going to be on this live. Okay. So enjoy, and let me be quiet and I'll start the video for you.
First heard about John Todd in March of 1974, though I was not given his name at the time. I was talking to Jack Chick, the author of the comic book publications like Broken Cross, the Crusader series, and some of the little pamphlets like Big Daddy and G.I. Joe and This Was Your Life and The Thing, a number of very effective
And
comic
anybody
book type
that's
gospel
listening,
tracts,
when you come in, just
which
put a
have
1 in the
reached a
chat if you can
circulation, I
hear
believe,
me.
of more than
Okay,
3 million
thanks.
copies. And God has wonderfully blessed Jack Chick's ministry. Jack Chick called me in March of 1974 about a certain subject and mentioned the fact that he had just met a converted Druid priest who was saved out of Druidism, which is a very high level of witchcraft. And he told me that this particular converted priest knew personally of more than 50 to 60 cases of human sacrifice perpetrated in this country. Now, at that time, Johnny Todd's name was not given to me. Then, about the last of May or 1st of June of this year, just about 5 or 6 months ago, about 5 months ago, Jack Chick called me again, not remembering who I was because we had not met personally, and began to tell me about this man named Johnny Todd who was converted out of witchcraft. And then I reminded him of the conversation we had about 3.5 years before, in March of 1974, and I asked if Johnny Todd were the same man he referred to as a converted Druid priest in 1974. He said, yes, Johnny Todd is the man. Well, I've had several occasions to talk with Johnny Todd, and I know that Johnny Todd knows what he's talking about when he talks about witchcraft and other occult organizations.
And yes, this testimony is pretty old. I believe it's either the late 80s or early 90s, I believe. Yeah, so yeah, it's pretty old. Enjoy.
Organization. The Lord Jesus Christ saved Johnny Todd out of witchcraft 5 years ago. And I have personally talked with Johnny Todd on the basis of Jack Chick's recommendation. Having known Johnny Todd now for more than 4 years, and my having known him for some 6 months, I believe that Johnny Todd is a genuinely converted man, saved by the grace of God out of the depths of Satanism. And without taking any more of his time, Johnny, you have until 5 minutes till 10. And is your watch one of those good ones? Keep 5? I have 15 after now. Okay, God bless you, Johnny Todd.
Thank you. Before I start.
And before he starts, like, when I came across John Todd was around when I first started being involved with the conspiracy theorist truth seeker movement in 2014. So this was pretty much standard in the collections of What the View. I don't take things literal. What I get out of it, I get out of it. I do research the material. I don't just go by what he has said or what anybody has said. This is his story according to what has happened to him. I do consider a lot of his information credible. Like I said, I don't take every word from every word from what a person says to me. I do try to use common sense and use my brain. And research also helps. So okay, just wanted to get that out of the way.
Start today. I'd like to leave a text with everybody. I try to leave it across the country. When I was saved, I knew absolutely nothing about the Bible except some basic teaching that I had picked up by accident when I was about 10 years old in a Nazarene church. When the people that I was being raised by that were in witchcraft found out that I had went to this church, they, as they say, blew their stack. and that was that for going and hearing anything about the Word of God. So everything I know about the Bible I've learned in the last 5 years. I had some very, very good teachers in San Antonio, a man named Jack Taylor, a Southern Baptist pastor. And when I told him, it was like 2 days after I was saved, the things that I had come out of and was afraid of and so on, he gave me this scripture as kind of my battle cry text, whatever, throughout the walk and the ministry that I would have later. And I've left it with Christians because in a day and age when we see so much happening around us, we lose sight of who's behind what is happening around us. We lose sight that if it is good and positive, it's the Lord, and if it's evil and rebellious, it's the devil. A lot of times we look at our teenage children and we think that they're the devil, and the teenage children look at the parents and think they're the devil. And we lose sight of really who our enemy is in this warfare that we're in. So I'd like to leave this with you. I'm sure many of you know it, and if you don't, I recommend that you mark it in your Bible and learn it by heart. Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. I didn't bring my Amplified with me today. I was a little rushed as I was late. But the Amplified gives a much clearer description of it. So many times we see political corruption and things going on, and these are a few things that I'm going to discuss today. But we lose sight of who's behind that political corruption. We looked at Nixon's era, we look at some of the things that Jimmy Carter's doing today, and we know they're not Christian deeds. We know that they have nothing to do with the Lord, but we kind of scratch them off to the man. We should scratch them off to the enemy, and the man is not the enemy. I came out of a family that was, many of you, how many of you were raised Baptist? We'll start that way. All your life, that's what you were raised from the time you were a little child, a Baptist. How many of you were raised in a Christian home? Okay. Now, so in the Pentecostal churches, which I try to avoid as much as possible, they have a term called homegrown Pentecostal. I guess homegrown Baptist would be just as fashionable. Well, I was a homegrown witch. From the time that I was 5 years old, I knew nothing but witchcraft. I would have known it sooner, but they didn't discuss it with me. They take you very, very young. And even before they start talking about the so-called positive aspects of witchcraft, they talk about the negative aspects of Christianity. So that
Yeah, just like the entertainment industry, just like anything that has to do with, entertainment industry, Hollywood or whatever, they always take the kids young. Keep that in mind. They take them young. I just want y'all to hold on to that thought.
being a Christian is a miracle, not because I wanted out of witchcraft, but that I would consider Christianity the only way out. Because they brainwash you from very early childhood that the Christian is the most evil being or creature in the universe. That he wants nothing more than to take the everyday witch out and shoot them, burn them, hang them, whatever he can do, and that they are the most hateful beings that ever existed, on the same level as maybe Adolf Hitler. So this is what I was raised up to believe. And my last name is Todd, but that was just changed about 60 years ago. Until then, our name was Collins. And the Collins family, my direct tree, was responsible, according to witchcraft history and a few history books that I can find also, with bringing witchcraft to the United States. So when I was 14, and some of you might consider that a very early age, but it wasn't. It was kind of a late age for this. I was initiated into organized witchcraft. In other words, I was made what Brother Rasmussen is. I was made a pastor, a minister. I was ordained. In fact, a few years later, when I went to enlist in the service, I didn't have to go because I was draft exempt, because I was the ordained minister of a legal recognized church. So, 4D status for a few people who know what that is. I'm sure Brother Rasmussen does. Ordained ministers are exempt. And I enlisted and went through the service until I got into a little shooting incident in Germany. After I'd come back from Vietnam, I'd re-enlisted and went to Germany. and I was getting ready to be court-martialed. In fact, I had everything down pat. I was as good as gone. We had entered a plea of guilty for a deal of 35 years and then parole, and they wouldn't even consider it. An officer had been killed in the situation, and I was more or less just waiting to be transferred to Leavenworth to serve the time when the Witchcraft Church, which I thought was just a little group of people that I belonged to, sent a political member of that church, a state senator, two of them, state senator, U.S. senator, and a representative over to Germany, and they took hold of the situation, and 24 hours later I was a civilian in the United States with all my time, rank, and an honorable discharge, and my court-martial records didn't exist anymore. And all of a sudden I realized I wasn't in something that just lit candles and incense and said magic words once in a while and stuck pins in dolls. There was a little more to it than just a religion. And
Hey P, hey Vibrant. I don't think I have to censor this. I mean, it's pretty tame. But like I said, the social media platform that I use, that you use, that we listen to and watch, sometimes could be a tad sensitive. I also, like, I stopped to hear because also according to him, listen to the connects that he had. When he was about to face this honorable discharge, and because of what he was into, poof, hey.
And I left New Jersey and went home to Columbus, and I asked my real mother, I have two mothers, I have a foster mother and a real mother, I asked my real mother what I was to do, and she said, here's an envelope with $2,000 and a one-way ticket to New York City. You get there on the next plane and I'll tell them you're coming. She didn't tell me who she was going to tell was coming or anything. But I flew to New York City and I spent 6 months learning all new witchcraft. Till then I had been taught what most of the teenagers learn. And I want to tell the teenagers something here real quick. I'm sure most of you probably go to the school here. But if you were in a regular school, you would meet witches running all over the place. We hear this across the country. Almost every high school has it, especially in California. And they tell the young people lies. They tell them it's ESP, they tell them it's psychic power, they tell them it's spirits of the dead, they tell them everything but what it is. And I was supposed to be a high priest leading a church that had 13 ministers to it, plus a couple hundred people in his congregation. And I believe this. And then all of a sudden,
Real quick, what do they call it today? Like, there's there's new terms for it today. Some call it certain forms of meditation, and what comes along with certain forms of meditation, especially when you're told, imagine that you're leaving your body and you're going somewhere else. I'm just saying. Let's continue.
all of a sudden, for 6 months, this man, Dr. Buckland, unraveled everything and told me there was a one God, where before we believed there was four. There was one, and his name was Lucifer. And he was very quickly to tell me that wasn't Satan. He didn't want me to get in the ideas that Christians could be telling me the truth. I should have thought then that if he had lied,
And do me a favor, hit the like button, y'all, too. Hit the like button. Thank you.
they had lied to me for almost 18 years. They were probably lying to me now. But I went ahead and believed it. For 6 months I took lessons in witchcraft that I didn't even know that things could happen that had happened. And then I was transferred to Los Angeles, good old L.A. Can't seem to get away from it. And for 6 months, my foster mother taught me something that your pastor is very familiar with, the political situation of the occult. And all of a sudden I realized that witchcraft wasn't just spell casting, it had a purpose in mind. And that's when I started getting a little afraid, because when I was 10, as I said, I learned a little about the Bible. It just happened to be all revelations that I learned. And all of a sudden
And like I said, he's speaking with a church, so he's gonna talk about the Bible. He's gonna talk about God. He's gonna talk about his Christianity and his beliefs. So it's gonna come along with this talk. I'm gonna play the second video, and so far so good. See, when I was messing with Restream once before, I had all kinds of problems. And you really couldn't do it from your phone like I'm doing it now. So, yeah, so that's the first video. Now that's part, because the video that you're watching is part 1A. So this is the first part of 1A. I'm gonna just go ahead and do part two of part two of 1A, and I think I'm just gonna close it out for the night. Um, I'm again, I'm gonna be doing commentary in between, and certain words that I think is gonna, you know, make this social media platform that we share, that we watch, that we use to avoid conflict with them. I'm gonna try to catch it, and I'm gonna try to see if I can catch it, without it actually hitting the airways. Okay, so here's the second part. Hold on.
They call it a Christian instrument. They say Christians are the only ones stupid enough to use it. Witches know that the devil runs it. They know more than some of the Christians. Yeah. Okay. You want an answer on that? Oh, I'm glad you asked me about that. Yes, I do. Physical evidence. One, so take the exorcism first. The rite that the Catholic Church uses for exorcism, they have changed a few words. Just, I think, about 6 words. Is the witchcraft rite of exorcism. It is 8,000 years old. The Catholic Church is not that old. Okay? Next, on the apparitions, it's the same thing as the Spiritualist Church of America or any of the witchcraft organizations. It's called auras. And if you'll notice, none of them are pure white. Now, coming out of the occult, I know the system of collars. And the principality, there's 7 of them. And all the demons under them go by the collar of their leader, their general. And the occult demon, Regia, appears as a blue snake or a blue mist. I've heard thousands of reports, including Jean Dixon, that her guides, her spirit guides, familiar spirits, are blue in nature when they communicate with
That's
her.
another word.
And of course, the red is lust, and so on. It's a long list. But the saints or apparitions, I want to get into this thing real quick. The Catholic Church's altar, except for the Atame or the knight, is the exact altar of witchcraft. And according to the reports I can get on the Nicene Council, most of the ministers at the Nicene Council that set that heresy up were from the Temple of Diana.
And if you go through, just do a tour through music history, I would say around the days of Ozzy Osbourne with Black Sabbath, through on, to today's rappers and today's artists. A lot of them use that altar in their videos. It's passed down. I remember this commentary, and I apologize for the background. It's a nice night tonight, so I'm outside. I'm enjoying the weather, and I'm not home yet. So I knew I was going to be late getting home, so I was like, all right, let me go ahead and just commit to this and do what I can do, and then just jump off. But there's a commentator, content creator named Chosen King, and one of the things he always used to say is, it's the same programming, just passed down to from generation to generation. So to me, it's the same type of rap, same type of candy, just passed down different wrappers. Haha, no pun intended. And it looks alluring, and the candy looks very alluring. But partaking in that particular candy might get you, at the very least, programmed into believing a lot of things that are really not there. It's not how they really are. So I just want to give that little tidbit.
Which is witchcraft. So everything, the bell, the incense, the whole ritual, their holy water is a salt water mixture. This comes from witchcraft, which they do exorcism with. Everything that they do comes out of witchcraft, and they can't get around it. Yes. Okay. Did everybody hear that question? Okay. He wants me to explain the Council of 13. I'll explain what that is, you were probably wondering. And what their purpose or thrust is. Okay. All right. If you'll all, just give you a second, reach in your billfold. You can put it in the offering plate later. Reach in your billfold and take out a $1 bill real quick. We'll settle the whole thing. I'll let you ask your federal government later how this got on the $1 bill. Okay. On the back of the $1 bill, you'll see the crest with the pyramid in it. Now, Dr.
Sorry, we talk about this. We talk about this now, but yeah, he knew about it too way back when. So it's still the same information. Yeah.
Dr. Rasmussen has upstairs the whole crest. You only have the words left out of it on the block. But there are sections. His is a little behind time. There's a few new organizations. His dates back to the 1800s. But that pyramid in the Illuminati consists of 3 pyramids and a sphinx. But their crest is this crest. The Illuminati is the occult organization that we belong to. It means the light bearers. The witches call it Mariah, the conquering wind. But it's the capstone above. The eye.
Now we don't use the name Illuminati that much anymore. To me, it's watered down. So, for me, it's the secret societies that control this world and every facet in it, of it. So you don't hear about the word Illuminati that much anymore. You'll hear it now as a byproduct. It's rarely explained in depth what it really means, what it, who founded what. So this is just a reintroduction to terms that you hear commonly today. And then some terms like Illuminati, you don't hear that much anymore. But same university.
Is Lucifer. The triangle of the capstone is the tribunal of the Rothschild family, which is called the Holy Family. They lead the Illuminati. They would be Paul, Peter, for the Catholics, all the saints and Mary and everybody rolled into one, in the Pope. They are the voice. The doctrine of the occult teaches that Lucifer comes and sits at their dining room table. When they see the table, they leave 13 chairs out, and the 13th one is for Lucifer to sit in himself. They set him a plate and everything. Now, I've been there in the mansion, and I've seen this go on. And they, in turn, direct to the top block of that pyramid. And that top block is the Council of 13 of the Grand Druid Council, which I was a member of. Now, the Druid system of government is not that the politicians run everything. It is the same system that Rome had. The priests let whoever wants to rule the government, but the priests must rule the ruler. Now, I'll let that sink on you for a while. And I want to throw this in. Will cause a lot of controversy, I'm sure, but it's a fact. Since the time of Woodrow Wilson, including him, there has never been a president of the United States that was not an Illuminati, that did not belong. Now, that'll shatter a few people's ideas about a Christian president right now, but it's a fact anyway. And the Grand Druids although they're just supposedly everyday people like me. You look at me now, I'm this way. I was a different way when I was in witchcraft. And part of my authority was whatever governors, senators, or political people were in my area took direct political orders from me, which I in turn did not think of, but simply translated to them from the orders that we got from London, from the Rothschild family. Now that's the Council of 13. The thrust is that when I left in 72,
And we've heard of the Rothschild family. We've also heard of the Rockefellers and families of that nature.
they had a chart that said in 8 years, they would have the whole world. And from remembering that chart, I haven't seen one thing through the news media not happen on schedule according to that chart. I would say that that's about right. I would say the word today would be Maranatha, that he's coming real quick, because theirs is coming real quick. They have it. It's not that far away. Okay. Yeah. It'd be easier to give you the names who aren't. About 99%. Okay? The man who pulled me out of jail became an attorney general under Ford. It was William Saxby. Well, that gives you two names to start with. The best way is to find out who belongs to the CFR or who belongs to the CFR. Yeah. Not the way it's been written. It's a little ridiculous. I know I'm going to step on a few people's toes who have read about the Illuminati, but he asked me what part Zionism played in the Illuminati. Rothschild and a few people in the Illuminati were born Jews, but they're not Jews. You can get in the Word of God and find it. I'll figure that a little bit. The system is this. With the same books that proclaim that the Illuminati is a Jewish organization also proclaim that the Illuminati is a Luciferian organization. You can't have both.
True. And we've also, it's also been discussed that Hollywood is ran by what particular groups? What particular group? Religious affiliation group? I don't want to say it because I don't want that smoke tonight. Just saying.
A true Jew believes in Yahweh. An Illuminati person, and I'm not a Jew, and I was a leader of the Illuminati, believes in Lucifer, the god of light, peace, love, blah, 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 and so on. It has nothing to do with the saints, because they might be a few Jews born, and they might have some ties with Zionism, bloodlines, but the organization itself has nothing to do with Judaism at all. It is totally 100% Druid occult, and that's its purpose. In fact, the reason that the Rothschilds even still reside in London is because England is considered to the witches the same as Palestine is considered to us. It is the Holy Land. You take pilgrimages there. You stop off and kiss the stones on the Rothschild mansion for luck and so on and so forth. If by some chance you happen to meet a Rothschild and he gives you a blessed sign or a blessed bee, then your whole life is set. It's that type of nature. But it has nothing to do. There is an interesting thing, though, I'd like to throw in. A lot of witches do wear the thing called the Star of David. David was long dead before that star was ever drawn. His son drew it. And it's called the hexagram, and the word to curse with the hex comes from the hexagram. And when witches practice magic, they draw a 5-pointed star to stand in, and they call demons up in the evil sign, what we call the Star of David. So before Christians start tying it around their neck, that's called the demon star, or the death star. And that's why it was drawn. For a few people that might be confused about the Solomon aspect, when he backslid, he became the most holiest person in the occult. Everything that we practice are based upon books that he wrote and pictures that he drew when he backslid. Well, including that exorcism rite you asked about, he wrote it. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll give you any. Okay, she asked if they're behind witchcraft programs that are coming on. I'm going to give you two quick examples. For one, I'm telling you this across the country, the most disastrous film that has ever come out pro-witchcraft, thousands of people that are
Okay, that's the ending, the second part of tape 1A. I'm gonna save the last two parts. Either I'll do it throughout the week or I'll probably do it like I did tonight. 8 o'clock on Sundays. As a matter of fact, hey, unless something happens, 8 o'clock on Sundays, I'll be going through the John Todd collection. So let me know what you think. Share this. I need more subscribers and like the video. I'm not going to tell you to sign any contracts or anything like that. So sorry, y'all. I was coughing. I've been talking. But like I said, let me know what y'all think. I'll be going through it, yeah, every Sunday at 8 o'clock. Okay, so next Sunday we'll go through the last two parts of tape 1A, and then the following Sunday, I guess we get into the second tape. Okay, thanks, y'all. Thanks, people who are gonna be watching this. Thanks, Library MP, for swinging through, and I'll catch you guys later. Okay. And this restream is pretty dope. Yay, restream. Yeah, have a good one. Later.